Simple, right? That's all it's meant for. Or at least it should be anyway. Hi everyone, my name is Stormi the Folf, and today, as the title would imply, I want to talk about scams in the furry fandom, the unfortunate types of transactions that can happen anywhere at any time. In case you don't know what a scam is in the furry fandom anyway, it's when you pay for services or goods such as an art commission or a fursuit, for example, and you don't receive the services or goods as promised. This can happen in several unfortunate ways. For example, let's say you send $1,500 or so to a fursuit maker and they promise to have the suit ready and shipped out to you in 3 months. 3 months later, you're expecting your fursuit. Another month passes by. You're 4 months waiting now. And you're starting to worry, and rightfully so. You need to contact the seller immediately. But what if they don't respond? What if you can't find them? What if they closed all their social media accounts? What if their PayPal account is closed? Let's see what went wrong here. So first off, how did you pay the fursuit maker? Did you use PayPal? Did you send a money order? Did you send an e-check? Most suit makers take PayPal payments, and in many cases, that's the only method of payment they'll accept. Things like Western Union money orders are often a scam to just take your money and leave you screwed, although some makers like More for Less do accept a variety of payment methods. PayPal is the most commonly accepted form of payment, and with it, there are 2 ways you can send money to someone: friends and family, and goods and services. By selecting friends and family payments, you agree that the money is exactly for that purpose. Money you'd send to a friend or a family member to help them out. Or maybe you borrowed money from them in the past and now you want to pay them back. Simple, right? That's all it's meant for. Or at least it should be anyway. Rally Wolfgang, stop falling off my wall! I need more sticky tape. By selecting friends and family payments, you agree that the money is exactly for that purpose. Money you'd send to a friend or family member to help them out, or maybe you borrowed money from them and now you want to pay them back. Simple, right? That's all it's meant for, or at least it should be anyway. Now, when you select goods and services, there are extra fees involved with each transaction. Sellers need to plan for this additional overhead, but newer suit makers may not like this and opt for the former transaction option. By doing this, you have no buyer or seller protections should something go wrong. That means if you pay $1,500 for a fursuit through friends and family and you never receive that fursuit, you've got one heck of an uphill battle if you want to get a single penny of that money back. PayPal will not intervene if something goes awry because you selected friends and family. They treat the transaction as more or less a gift to the seller. You selected friends and family, they're going to treat the transaction as such. I get that paying extra fees sucks when you select goods and services, but which would you rather have? Save a few bucks with no protection, or spend a little more for that purchase insurance? You essentially cannot file claims on PayPal through friends and family. This is why you pick goods and services. Buyers, sellers, suit makers, and my fellow potatoes. You're just gonna have to deal with the fees if you want any kind of protection behind the purchase. This is a common scammer tactic. It's a cardinal rule if you ever buy anything using PayPal. If a suit maker asks you to pay for the suit through friends and family, don't fall for it. Just don't. Tell them you refuse, and if they don't cooperate, it's time to find another suit maker or an artist. Seriously. There's no shortage of epic talent in the furry fandom, and you deserve the best customer service possible. Of course, I'm burning up and dying. Again. Moving on. So, let's say you take the proper channels and pay using goods and services. You cooperate with the maker's monetary requests to the best of your knowledge. Everything looks fine and dandy. The suit maker says your suit will be ready in 4 months. Yay! 4 months pass and you've got no suit. It's time to message the seller. If they respond and you work things out, that's awesome. Sometimes mishaps, well, happen. Life's not perfect. The seller could have been going through something like a family emergency, for instance. A good entrepreneur will reply to you as soon as they possibly can and resolve the matter ASAP. If they fall short on their promises, they're being irresponsible, they don't respond to you, and if they do, they repeatedly lie about fixing your problem after months of back and forth chatter or worse, they just don't respond at all, it is time to file a PayPal claim. Now, I might be wrong, but I've been told that you have something like 180 days from the day of the transaction to file a claim. Maybe something's changed, maybe I'm just stupid. Take this with a grain of salt. Anyway, gather copies of all conversation transcripts with the seller and any contracts you agreed upon when purchasing the item in question. The more evidence you have of the seller not backing up on their claims, the better chance you'll have at getting your money back. Another way to avoid being scammed, granted not all suit makers and artists use these, is having a contract between you and the seller. Contracts are so important, especially with high dollar purchases like a complete full suit with digigrade legs, LEDs, movable eyebrows, and all the best bells and whistles you'd expect from a fully decked out suit. And I keep hitting my nose for some reason. Contracts increase the chances of both the seller and buyer being legally protected from faults that may occur during the transaction process. In the event legal action is taken and the terms of the contract aren't honored, PayPal will, or at least they should, honor the terms in said contract. That means if they don't do what they said they're doing in the contract, they might refund your money. Record keeping. Keep all receipts, screenshots, communication logs, emails, tracking numbers, contracts, reference images, auction listings, everything. Everything that's relevant to what you purchase. Save all the things because you never know when you might need them. Like if the seller claims a listing is for a complete fursuit head, but instead, they just send you a base. Keep as much evidence as you can in the event something goes wrong. Furry Beware pages. These pages are mainly dedicated to reporting and sharing stories about scammers, art tracers, art thieves, and so on. Now, I can't necessarily endorse every single report posted to these pages because there's always a margin of error. There could have been a misunderstanding between both parties and eventually it was resolved and business continues as usual. Not all reports are 100% accurate either. My best advice to you is do your own research and judgment when selecting an artist, especially when a lot of money is on the table. Which brings me to my next point. Do your research. Does the artist have a portfolio or any prior suit making experience? Is this their very first fursuit? Hold your potato before clicking that pay button. Ask around in furry groups through Facebook or other forms of social media. You could be like, has anyone ever bought a Potato Productions fursuit before? Or maybe, does this such and such artist have a good reputation in the furry fandom? Just questions like that. Remember, by dealing with a newer artist with very little or no prior experience, you're taking a risk, even if it's just a $5 sketch. They might take that $5 and never respond to you again. Or they could take $500 for a fursuit head that you meant to purchase and never send it to you, let alone respond. See where I'm getting at? That doesn't mean you shouldn't give newer suit makers a chance, but if you do, you're taking a gamble. Thieves and tracers. Yes. These unfortunate beings seem to find zero harm in counterfeiting or copying another person's persona. The most infamous example I can think of would be fursuits from DH Never, ever, 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 ever buy a fursuit from DH. Same case with eBay, for the most part. Both sites are hotspots for fake fursuits. I say fake because these things barely fit the definition of a genuine fursuit, mainly because they often use stolen designs. By the time stuff like this gets discovered, it's usually blasted on beware pages left and right, and if the artist in question wants to save any reputation they have left, they'll apologize and dispose of the fursuit design immediately. That's how it's supposed to go anyway. Some online retailers, however, disregard the ethics behind one's intellectual property, no matter how much flack they may receive, like DH. You're more likely to find a genuine fursuit through a furry Facebook group, Furbuy, or the suit maker's website, as opposed to a big box retailer like Amazon, for instance. I have seen them selling stolen fursuit designs before. Now, let's say you see an artist who's posting a picture they made of your persona that you did not commission them to do at all. They just decided to draw it because they wanted to. Maybe they did it for fun or they made it as a gift for you. And that's totally cool. There's nothing wrong with that. What's not cool, however, is when they try to profit from it. This happened with Treble a good while ago, and to say she was livid is an understatement. Please, don't be a jerk. Scammers in the fandom really mess up our image and how other people perceive us, especially newer furries. We have got to do better than this. Don't uphold your claims of being able to finish a $1,500 fursuit in 4 months if you can't do it. I get that things happen sometimes, but don't overstep your boundaries. Don't push yourself into something you know you can't do. If you went through a series of unfortunate circumstances that caused you to delay or put it off, let the customer know. Do not leave them in the dark. This video is not meant to bash anyone, not even the scammers. While our fandom no doubt has a massive supply of talent, we need to also educate ourselves better on business practices. If you're going to start selling high-dollar fursuits, you gotta prioritize things appropriately. And lastly, probably the most important part of avoiding being scammed is communication. Don't be afraid to ask questions. This applies to both the customer and the seller. If you want to have a healthy business relationship, just ask questions. Ask all the questions. Just don't ask them things like what they had for breakfast or whatever. Stay relevant. Keep on topic. Ask questions like, when can I expect work in progress pictures? Or if you yourself are the seller, send work in progress pictures of the art or fursuit in question. Buyers usually have a right to know how their commission is turning out, especially if it's a very expensive one. Maybe they want the ears a little bigger, maybe the eyes are too small, things like that. If there aren't any work in progress pictures and the commission is completely wrong from the description you provided the seller, you're gonna have a bad time. In conclusion, most of the furs I see getting scammed in the fandom are either younger furs or those who are just, well, brand new to the fandom. I am by no means trying to name call or insult anyone. We all started in the furry fandom at one point or another, whether we learned about the fandom at 6 years old or 60 years old, just as an example. In my opinion, we as experienced furries have to do what we can in educating newer furries so we can minimize scams and things of that nature in the future. Anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. There's a lot more I want to cover, but if I keep going on, this video will never end, so I guess I'll save it for a part 2. If you found it helpful, consider giving it a like, maybe leave a comment. Have you ever been scammed before in the furry fandom? Let me know in the comments. And of course, subscribe and share with your other furry friendos. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye bye!